Morning all. I've finally turned up. We've been messing around with the settings. So, I can't see who's been before. The mouse is over here. I'm not left-handed. So, Joe's messing around with a camera at the moment. Morning John, Steve, Kevin. Morning Lee, printer's still intact, it just ran out of paper. But talking to you, I couldn't check. Karen's calmed the situation down. Morning Mark. Morning Andy. Joe's still messing around with cameras so he can't see what's going on. Morning Stuart. Spear jig working great. Morning Graham. Morning Charles. Morning Nick. So, we've I don't know how long we got. Oh, we got a minute. So we got in time. Morning, Julian. Morning, Fred. Mark. Yeah, I got 3B3 Ash and 3B3 Sycamore and 3B3 Sweet Chestnut. Mark, in stock. May not all be cut yet, but they're in stock. Morning, Dave. Morning, Douglas. Hi, David. Ken, you're up. Morning. Not too much rum last night, I hope. Morning, Michael. Happy birthday, was it for yesterday? Hello, Mick. No problem, Mark. Yeah.
10.
Right, I'm being told 10. Morning, Ronnie. I'm still pulling glue off of me. You see that? Glue off me smock. Every time I reach down, I find more glue. I'll be picking this off for the rest of my life, I reckon. Yeah, look. There we go. Bit of glue. What was that, 3 weeks ago or something? I still haven't finished that piece. The olive root is still on the lathe. It's had about 20 coats of oil at the moment, so maybe this weekend I'll give it a final buff and put some pictures up of it finished. Morning, Baz. Right, so what we're going to do this morning is cover the bowl gouge. It sounds quite simple, the bowl gouge, but there's a few different grinds to the bowl gouge and a few basic ideas. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn an ash blank, namely this piece here. It's a bit of 4-inch ash. It's about 7 inches in diameter. We're going to try and land up with something over 6. You never know, your luck might go down to a slim little vase of 2 inches. Who knows? Morning, Miss T. Morning, John. Now, I might be missing some of you who say morning now. Morning, Derek. I'll do my best, but I'm looking up and talking and multitasking. I'm not a woman. I don't multitask. Don't happen. I'm lucky if I can do one thing properly. So, we're going to use the different bowl gouges. So, if we move the camera down, firstly what I'm going to show you is a few different grinds, and we have got a camera set up on the sharpener this morning, so I'm going to show you how we sharpen, or how I sharpen. So our basic tool, that ain't our basic tool, nor is that one is. I put them in sequence, can't even remember how I put them. So here Joe's just moving the camera. This is a standard grind bowl gouge. It's ground at 45 degrees and quite straight, but you land up with two little wings, corners here. And people using a bowl gouge, that's where they get their catch. I'm going to demonstrate what happens here. So we've got our bowl blank. What should happen? I've got bits at my feet in the way. Let me just move them. If we have our handle back towards us and allow the tool just to run along the tool rest, we keep these wings out of the back. What happens when we turn, a lot of people start moving their hand rather than their body. So you can see we change the orientation of the tool. And you see that? Change the orientation of the tool. And then suddenly this corner comes into play and bang, there's your catch. So what people do is they use a fingernail grind. Now if we can see that, Joe's moving around with the camera, we just grind down a little way further and we get rid of those corners, so we can bring our handle forward and then we don't get the catch. But what we lose, if I reach in here, is the bevel support. You see the bevel is much wider on the standard grind to the fingernail grind at the tip. And we still only cut from just under the tip with either of these gouges here. So if you don't allow your handle to come forward, the standard grind is perfectly sufficient. Fingernail grind. From fingernail grind, we go to my preferred grind, the longer grind. I won't call it a long grind. There's an Ellsworth grind that comes down to about my fingernail, so it's even further. But I find this length is perfectly sufficient, so I can use the tool, manipulate it to use it for shear cutting and stuff like that to fine tune, which we'll do and I'll explain as we go along. The only other grind that I use is this. It's a real flat sort of grind. It's 60 degree. Now if you're doing a deep bowl, that's why we're doing a narrow 4-inch bowl. When you get into the bottom with a standard 45 degree or a long grind, what can happen is the heel here can hit the bottom of the bowl to stop you getting a nice curve in the bottom. With a flatter grind, you can come in and get that curve all the way round. Some people grind the heel off so that they can get round. But again, you're reducing your amount of bevel. So if you have a tool ground at 60, something like that, then that enables you to scoop in, and the flatness of the bevel allows you to get your curve in the bottom of the bowl. So that's the basics of the bowl gouge. Now what we're going to do is, Joe has set the camera back up and we'll start on the blank and I'll explain. I'm going to use all the bowl gouges so you can see how they're used. The 60 degree might be a bit more difficult. We've got a camera set up head on, and if it can't see in there, maybe Joe will do a wobbly. Here we go. Morning, Leisha, I've just seen you. Right, so I've got to find centre. So what I've been using is one of these Perspex centre finders, and this blank is 7-inch, so I've got markers on the outside in different sizes. So I just sort of centralise the blank roughly inside those lines, get it as close as possible. Again, I haven't got my glasses on, so I think I'm about there. And then I just mark that centre with something or the other. I'm going to use a little caliper there. I just want to put a little dink in the centre there. So I've got a dink in the centre, so I know where my centre is. Now normally I drill my blanks on the pillar drill, but I'm just going to use a hand drill today. I really should wear my glasses. Yeah, I think I really should wear my glasses. Hold on, let me make that a little bit more visible to myself. I think it's there. We might be having a blank that's going to be around about 3 inches in diameter if I'm not in the centre. So I'm just going to drill a little hole in there. It's a 7.5mm drill bit. And we're going to mount with the screw chuck. So the screw chuck sits in the jaws. There's a channel in the back. That channel sits in the back of the jaws. Got a couple of flats on it. And we just do the jaws up. And pick up the flats so the jaws are up. And then we give that a tighten up. And then we can screw the blank. Well, looks like you just collapsed. Joe collapsed you. Screw the blank onto the screw chuck. And what we want to do is get it as tight to the face of the jaws as possible. There. Nice and tightly on. Looks as even. This is a plain piece of wood, or yeah, I think it's plain, or bandsaw cut, so it's close. Now for safety, as I always advocate, bring up the tailstock, wind the quill in with a live centre, make your puncture mark and lock that down. Now what that's done is that's marked our true centre when we get going. It's also giving us extra security with the blank. So we're on a screw chuck, we're trapped between centres, as safe as possible. I'm bringing my tool rest up now and locking it off and just checking that it turns. And it didn't turn there because it's not quite right. We're right now. There. So with the speed controller, because I've got variable speed, I'll turn the lathe on, stand out of the way. I know it's not going to fly off. And we can whip the speed up. We've got it spinning at around about 600. We've started to get a little vibration in the lathe now. Ash is an open grain, and if you've got a bit of olive in there, the olive is denser and you can be vibrating out of balance. So you can either whip it up faster, see if you come through that, which we're not. The vibration now is getting quite bad, so we back the speed off until we bring it to round. So what I'm going to do first of all is use the standard grind bowl gouge with my handle back towards me. Now I'm going to go right to left. It's not my normal way because I've got a box with a mic on it so you can hear me. So I've got the tool into my side, handle low, and I just slide up and you can hear that bounce. That's the bevel and the heel bouncing. And then I raise the handle and you should be able to see it's cutting just under the tip. And I just travel the tool along the tool rest. At the speed that the wood is coming over the cutting edge. If I move too quick, let's just get a cut there. I bounce along the surface and I get these dig marks. You can see these dig marks here. You get these dig marks because you're travelling too fast for the wood. You've got to just travel. Pick the cut up, raise the handle, at the speed the wood is coming over the cutting edge. Got a bit of bounce there. There. At no time have I moved the orientation of the tool round, because if I start doing that, I can't get round there. If I start doing that, as I come round, bang, that would be my catch on that corner there. So, that's how we start. Now with a fingernail grind, this one, I cut in exactly the same way. But if I was to bring the handle round, the only thing it's going to do is skip me backwards. like this. But I've got less bevel support. So all we're doing is bringing our blank into round so we can turn the speed up. Now with my preferred longer grind, it works exactly the same as fingernail. I can whip the speed up a bit now. We're up to about 900. I'm going to go the other way, pick the cut up. I'm going to get a bit of bounce at the end here, because we're not round. There. And we're still not quite round on the end. So with my handle low, I can slide the bevel up anywhere along the workpiece, raise my handle to get my cut. There. And now we're round. Now what you're looking to produce is some curly type shavings. You can see these curly type shavings here. They're little pigtails. If you're getting the pigtails, you're cutting at the right point of the tool and creating a slicing cut which slices the fibres, which stops the torn grain. We're not quite round yet. We've got a still standsaw area there, but we're nearly there. So I'll just finish off bringing her to round. We can use the fingernail grind, get a bit more speed in the lathe. You can see what speed I'm travelling the tool at. I'm just trying to keep a consistent flow of shaving coming over the edge. Now the lathe's still bouncing there, so it's this dark wood compared to this light wood. This is much lighter than this. This is heavier. So we're really not going to be turning this blank particularly fast, but
Have you got any more offcut bags?
900. At the moment, Joe said we got offcut bags. At the moment, we haven't, but by Monday we will have, because I've got to cut a load of blanks over the weekend. So,
By Tuesday, Monday's bank holiday.
oh yeah, I've got an extra day to cut blanks. It's bank holiday Monday. So, we've got our blank into round. We're now going to face off this one here. And if I just switch the camera.
Side.
That one? Yeah, we're on a side with an over. We're going to face this blank off.
Oh, it's a vanishing perspective right there.
Oh, look, you can see that part of the setup we've got here. Computer screens everywhere. We've got two screens you can see. So in front of me, if I look up, I can see some of the chat. Morning, Chris. And if
And then my screen is the one that you can actually...
Joe's looking at this screen with the camera screen, so then when we're trying to do something a bit close up, he can look at that as he shakes the camera around, makes you all feel quite sick. So now if I'm going to come in and flatten the bottom of this blank off, let's use the standard. I've got too many gouges to choose from here. Third time lucky. So here I can rub the side bevel here and then just pull back towards me and draw the tool back, and I rub the side bevel, my handle's low, I raise and just pull back. So it's just a gentle thing. Side bevel, no cut, raise, there's the cut. where it's not flat, it's trying to make the tool bounce. And I'm just lock my body up and trying to stop that bounce. And I'm not being very successful. There, let's just get in there. So you can cut backwards and forwards. Just by leaning back and pull. They're not tidy cuts. This just faces it off. Now with my preferred long grind, I just pick up the edge of the bowl now and start coming inwards. And as I come in, I raise the handle. And you would have noticed there, I cut and didn't cut. I was just following the tool rest, so the high points were getting cut. What? Hold on, camera's refocusing. Let's give that a wipe. Windscreen wiper. On and off. There we go. So now, something went crack. That weren't me, it's alright. Don't worry, my bones are still intact. So I can just do a few light wipes into the middle. Just slowly, it follows the cutting edge. I'm just trying to keep a nice consistent flow of shading, but I'm trying to get all my words out without breathing. So if I keep doing that, I might fall over in a minute. So, now we've got a sort of flat back. I've pushed the bevel a bit hard, so we've got a ring mark. Your idea is to glide the bevel. I'm going to show you that marking on the inside of the bowl later and why it happens. So now it's time to find me vernier, which I've buried under my nose here somewhere. Okay, so my jaws, I'm going to try and get this right this week. We're going to do a spigot, so we're going at around about 46 mil. There we go. So left hand point in, right hand point out the way, score a line. I should have a logo on my right hand shoulder. You can't see that from there, can you? So let me reach in. No, you can't see that either. So, oh, you can see it from the overhead. That's your best shot. Left point in, there. Right hand point out the way, and make sure when you scribe the line that it's parallel with the right hand point, and that's our spigot size. Now we're going to put a spigot on here of around about 10 mil, a bit thicker than I would normally do, because we're going to be doing a few different things as we go along, so I want to make sure she's held. So now I can go in with me grind here. I'm just measuring my distance down. Back there, I think. So we just force this cut in. Into there, another one. There, and then just what we're going to do now is come in but stop short. Somewhere there, and a bit of waste wood. There, I've created a shoulder for my jaws to sit on, and now if I rotate the tool rest round a little bit, make sure she turns by hand, then I'll use the skew to cut my spigot here. So I'm just going to come in and I'm looking over the opposite side here at the line. Raise my handle, little push, bring it into the line. I'm just going to clean that up just a little bit with the tip. There. I think this skews a bit blunt. There. Now, if you've been watching, what will happen is this spigot is too steep an angle for the jaws. So, I come in and now I just move my skew round to sort of 45 degrees or a bit under. I just flatten that off. So I've got a very small taper on it. There. And what I'm looking for now is this is flat there. You can see from the overhead we're flat. So the jaws are going to sit nice and squarely against that. And that is around about metric, that side. It's just about 9mm deep. So I am going to take another pass in. The reason being...
You are going to show how you do the 3 different grinds using the Pro Edge, aren't you?
Yeah, you're going to be seeing grinding as well. To music. I'll sing to you. Now I'm just going to take this down. At the moment I'm about 9mm. In these Patriot chucks, there's a second row of teeth at around about 8mm. So I've got to make sure, if I'm going to go with a deep spigot, that I'm well beyond them teeth. As I get into the spigot, I raise my handle wire, tilt me tip round anti-clockwise to clean that face off. I think I've just got a little wire point there. Now we'll check that. There we are, nice and flat. And we're now just under 10mm, fractionally. So I think that will do us. It should sit in the jaws okay. So now we've got a base, nice spigot, nice and clean. So it should sit in the jaws properly. So I'm just going to bring the tool rest up, because now I'm going to put the shape into the bowl. The reason I do this at this moment in time is that I'm not working towards the chuck. And if you slip and hit the chuck, you'll know all about it. So we're just going to put a bit of shape into here. Now we can use any of the gouges, standard grind, long grind, don't much matter. Does matter when I can't find it. So we'll start with the standard grind. And as I've said before, I work technically the wrong way round, because I'm moving down and not got supported fibres. Okay, let's come round. Now, you can see, you may be able to see, I'm having to push this tool a little bit. So this is already blunt. You can't say, well, trust me, I'm having to put a bit, so this is already blunt and it's running hot. Yeah, so this is already blunt and the tip's running hot. So in no time at all, this tool is blunt. Because this is a dense bit of ash, so we're not sharpening it at the moment. All I'm going to do is swap gouges, and as I come round, I'm twisting my right hip in towards the lathe and raising my handle, and that's started to generate my curve. So I can rub my bevel, pick my cut up, and get my curve. Now if we look at this, all my grains should be highly torn out and it's not really torn out. A little bit of end grain here is a little bit rough, but other than that, we're doing perfectly okay going against the books. So there, and I can tie that up with a real light cut in a minute if I want to. Well, I will want to. I'm just trying to get my shape into here. Right, so now because of the mic and the setup, I need an overhead mic. It's something I'm going to do when I get round to it. I'm having trouble standing back far enough to get down the lathe. So one way around it is I could move the whole setup down, or I can start coming the other way, technically the right way. So I rub the back of the bevel, raise my hand, tilt my handle towards my body, and as I pick up the cut with my handle fairly low, I'm now twisting my body away from the lathe. And I'm just trying to get my curve to flow. Joe's on the move again with the camera. Now I'm getting there, but I want to bring this bottom in more. I want it to really flow round. So I can cut more wood by lifting my handle just a little bit faster as I come round. I'm just going to move the tool rest up. Now we're getting there. I want to bring, I've got a bit of a lump just about here. So now I've got my long grind gouge, and I'm just going to fine tune this shape. Leaning into the lathe as I cut. Yeah, I've got a flat spot there I can see, so I'm going to just come back the other way. I want to just fine tune this bit here. And just light cuts now. And where I'm looking is at the horizon of the bowl, so I can see my flat spots. Now I'm using my long grind gouge, and you can see I'm rolling on the side bevel and over onto the cutting edge. So I just roll my wrist clockwise. Now I've got another problem. My handle and my banjo is fouling my handle of my tool. So I need to roll it over the other way. I was thinking I can't get round here, and that's why. So now I can pick me cut up again. Now I'm not fouled by that. So that's not dictating the shape anymore. And I can just bring this round. Into there, something like that. So now rolling the gouge over, I can use my wing on a long grind, take a real fine cut there. Now I'm stopping here because the lathe bed is getting in my way, but we've still got a real nice fine shaving there. And the surface now is fully repaired. So what I want to do is get this bottom bit. So I'm going to have to come the other way because of the way the cameras are set up. I'm now running the side bevel on the opposite face, and I'm rolling anti-clockwise round. Little lift of the handle. And I can blend that cut in coming back the other way. I'm just going to come just under the tip. There. And that doesn't look too bad. That's the sort of shape that I wanted from the bowl. There. So I want to tuck the bottom under so I've got a bit of a foot. So I'm just going to rub the bevel now, raise my handle, lift, and bring us into a foot. Back of the bevel, handle towards the lathe, lift, and bring us into a foot. Somewhere there. There. So we've got a foot, we've still got a shoulder. This will be our foot, and I've just got a bit of flaky grain here on the foot that I'm just going to tidy off. So, because I don't want that fouling, I'm just going to brush that away. Just brush the cutting edge along that surface and clean that up. So, that should be as fairly clean. I think I've got a flat spot here, and I had a ruler, so a little flat just here. Can you see the ruler's not rolling as clean as it should? It's got a balancing point there. There's just a little flat in there, so I'll bring this round to get rid of that. And it'll be nothing, it'll be sort of millimetres. These are real light cuts. I'm using my long grind and just manipulating the tool round. Just rolling that edge now. Now tidying this up. That's cleared it up. There was nothing that much, but it'll make the difference. Yeah, I think that'll do it. Right. Okay, so we're going to turn the extractor on and just sand this now. The operator for the extractor has disappeared, so hold on a second, let me go and turn that on. So extractor on. So everybody okay so far? If you ain't there, find me little sander. There we go. Lost my sanding head. That's better. Someone passed comment the other night about a sanding box being full of shavings. Can't remember who it was. Mention me. Look at that, eh? A clean box.
Show the rest of the workshop.
Right, so first with a bit of 80. I think that was a bit of blunt 80. A bit of sharp 80. That's better. Now what the problem is here, because of the grain pattern, it looks like I've got a line and there's not. So that's fine. That's just sanded to 80. I think that's got rid of the marks. Just make sure. I've got the speed up a bit now, 1300. Right, so that's my main sanding done. And now I can just whip through the grits quickly, because all I'm doing now is removing the sanding lines of the grit before. Quick process. That was 120. $180. $240. $320. And that will be enough for what we're going to do. So now we've got our sanded, we could remove the tailstock, remove the bowl blank from the jaws of the chuck, but I'm leaving the screw chuck in just in case I moles out and I have to reassess that, but it should be alright. Now because I'm coming down on a bowl blank, I've pinched up the jaws there, quarter of a turn. I don't want to snap the fibres. It's nice and solid. No, there's a bit of movement there. So something's not sitting quite right. There, no. Right, I can see light on the jaws of that spigot. So we're not quite in there properly. So because of that, I can now reverse it back round without any problems. There. Turn the speed down, turn the speed up. We're not gone back in there properly yet. There. That's better, I think. Let's try that. No, it's still not quite in there properly. Something's adrift. Namely me, I suppose. I'm adrift. Yes. This should just sit back in how it come out. And the jaws, I haven't got them quite on the flat. Let's try that.
Doug asked how an undercut lip is done.
An undercut lip. I'll show you that in a bit. Let me just... We're not going back in here quite right yet, and the jaws are just not doing up. We'll put a little undercut lip on here for you. Just a minute. Let me just find out while they're not sitting properly down. I know when it's in exactly the same place, because the jaws will do right up. Ah, that's it. Right, now we should be there. There we are. We're a little fraction out, but that'll be alright. So if I stop the lathe there, I'll bring my lathe centre back up into there, and I'm just going to fine tune this shoulder. It weren't sitting, I could see, I could get a £5 note between the jaw face and the shoulder here, so that weren't quite right. I'm just going to fine tune this now. I'm just going to skim just half a mil off that bottom in case it was sitting down somewhere and catching. Right, check with my ruler again, it looked right last time. Yeah, that's flat. Now we go back to step 2. Remove.
Have you got dust in there?
No, I think what it was, I thought I was completely flat here, and there must have just been a few fibres sticking up. We'll see, the proof will be in the pudding now.
You've done sand.
Sorry?
You've done sand.
Yeah.
Also,
Now when I look at this, I can't see a gap here.
Oliver, helps to shut glass gates.
So pinch it up, quarter of a turn, that should be about there. We're still running a tad out. Okay. Right, so what I'm going to do is remove this. I've got to move me spanner. Hold on. Move me spanner. I was using it yesterday. All round of applause. I was using it yesterday to put bits on my new toy. I've had a sandblaster for 5 years. Used it a few times, but it's never been over enamoured. And I found out, I'm just letting the chuck off a little bit. I'm going to wind the live centre in to put centre of pressure on this bowl blank and then tighten my jaws down. Quarter of a turn once I've pinched up. There's still a tad out here. So I've sanded, and now I'm going to have to return this just a fraction. Otherwise when we do the rim will be a little bit out to the other side. So let's just try that. Bottom looks alright. So with me long grind bowl gouge, I'm now just going to pick up the edge I'm going to put an undercut lip because someone's asked about it. So, a design opportunity here. So now I'm just going to come in. I wasn't going to roll the top over, but we want an undercut lip. So, I'm just going to roll the top over a bit. So it should be somewhere there. Now I'm fine tuning, I've sanded and I'm going to be re-sanding in just a minute. Now this is the bit I've got a problem here. I'm trying to get round with a microphone on my right shoulder. Going towards the jaw set. Joe's trying to move the mic away so I can get in here. But the trouble is then we'll lose the sound. I'm just using the side of the gouge. Now I can get round here. I can pick the back of the bevel up, handle towards the lathe, come round. Lift as I go. Right, so we've re-changed the shape now, so we've got a bit of a roll in. Let's get that round a bit more. So we can do a little undercut lip in a minute. Let's fine tune that a little bit. As I come round here, I'm leaning slightly back in towards the lathe and just adjusting the shape round. So we've got a new shape because someone wants an undercut lip, but that's alright, and we can explain how we get the undercut in a minute. So now I've got to just fine tune this a little bit and then we'll sand. I can just see a little bit of torn grain. So now I'm using the cutter, side bevel, long grind, roll my wrist clockwise, come round, real gentle stuff. And then I've just got to come the other side, so I'm rolling the other side bevel, rolling anti-clockwise. And just flash that backwards and forwards. There's just a sharp point just here I want to get rid of. I'm letting my thumb sort of push this around, my left thumb. There. So now we've got a shape so we can get an undercut. I've got rid of the bit of torn grain that I had. I've just got a little bit of fray in here at the bottom, which is going to be our foot. So I've got to get in there to sort that out. So what I'm going to do is use a real small skew, more hot melt glue on the handle of that. So I'm just going to pick this up there, just carefully come round here. I'm just using the tip now just to flatten off what will be the foot. I've got about 5mm to the jaw set, so I'm just being a little careful. That's going to be our foot. And now I'm just going to go in with a bowl gouge and tie this down to the foot. It's just a little quarter long grind bowl gouge. That gets me in so I can get into here. There. Now I've got just a little line that I can see there. I've got bits all over the floor. Let me get rid of that. That's got rid of me little line, and I've got me shape. So now we'll add the extractor on again. Quick bit of sanding. Technical adjustment time. Oh, I'll face the blank off while Joe's turning the sander off. So I'm just going to come and face this face off here.
5-2.
5-2. Now this bit we're going to hollow out, but what I'm doing now is I'm just putting a chamfer on this shoulder, so it will come up a little chamfer in. Quick sand, don't want to be here for ever. So back to the 80 grit, got to speed up, get in there. Got the Simon Open nursery rule sander. A bit of pressure on one edge. Stop that. Make sure I've got rid of my marks I want to get rid of. I can just feel something there. That, and then quick flick through the grits. Last one, 320, it's going to do us for this. That's our sanding. So I've got my tank cloth here, and I'm just going to wipe off the dust on there.
Done sanding.
Yeah, done sanding. Done sanding, time for a round of applause. Michael, I've just seen that comment. I don't like you that much. Half price pro edge indeed. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to add a bit of colour. So here I've got a blue acrylic paint. And I had safely put down a set of brushes. foamers, or whatever you want. So these are a foam. Let's slap this on. It don't matter if I overlap the front. This is going to be a base coat. And we slap this on. Even he's covering the wood.
Round and brown.
But never mind. You're going to see some wood on the inside, so be a contrast. Lucky it's not a big piece. Take 3 times as long to cover it. Now, if you wanted to see a bit of wood on the front, you could always mask off an area, paint over, and then pull the masking off afterwards, and you could create a window of grain. Just want to make sure this is covered. I don't like wood really, so I don't want to see any of it. There we go. Now with this sort of paint, you could actually create a bit of texture if you wanted to by stippling it on. Joe's trying to encourage me to turn the lathe on while the paint's wet. We're not going to do that. You know what happens there. Someone gets covered. Normally me. So, there we go. You can see a bit there. That wants a bit more. Bit light just there. Not going to matter too much, but yeah, that's got our blue into there. So while that's drying off a little bit, we're going to switch cameras because the tools were blunt earlier. So if I bring over the fingernail grind, a long grind and a standard grind, I'll just show you quickly how we sharpen the tools. And I think that's...
Don't touch my buttons. Leave my buttons alone, I'm already on it.
It's already on it. I've pushed the buttons. So, we're going to start with the long grind. I'm going to work backwards because I've got the long grind jig on the lathe. What I do is I've got a pro set, and what this does is make sure that the distance, I go to 40 on the pro set, the distance from the tip to the shoulder of the tool on the bench here is the same, and then I lock the jig off. We'll just move the screen round so we can see what you're seeing, so you can see. So you've got that. We can't see your comments. I'll come back to questions in a minute. That's locked off. And then simply I use the third hole back on the long grind jig, raise my handle, roll over one way, come back, and because it's a long grind, I just slide the long grind jig along the bar a little bit, back the other way. I'm doing this in slow motion for you, and then that's your long grind jig and your tool sharpened. For a fingernail grind, this one, which is shorter, I use 45 on the Pro Set, same idea, shoulder against the edge of the Pro Set, tip into the step, and all I'm making sure is the distance between the tip and the shoulder is the same all the time. Now on a long grind jig, the first hole nearest the belt is the fingernail grind hole. I just centralise the jig, and then I just, same action. Roll it round to the right, come back, roll it round to the left, back to centre, and that's my fingernail grind done. Now, this is where it gets complicated, because I've got a standard grind. So I have to take the long grind jig off of the lathe. I get the table, and there's a hole for the, let's call it the pivot pin. And I just rock that on there, that's it on. So now I'm on the pivot hole, and I can tighten it up a little bit. Now for my 45 degrees, it's the fourth hole down. 1, 2, 3, 4, into 4. Lock the table off. Now this table is now locked at 45 degrees. Same every time. I put the V-block jig in and literally lay the flute into the V-block. The pressure is on, I'm right-handed, pressure is on my left hand, making sure that flute is into that V-block. Slide it up to the belt, little push so she's cutting. I roll my wrist clockwise, come back, move my thumb round so I can roll my wrist anti-clockwise, come back, that's it done. If you don't move your thumb, what happens, you can go clockwise, alright, but as you come anti-clockwise, your wrist won't go over, so you start lifting your handle so you come out of the jig. So just move your thumb round like that, and that's then sharpened. So we're back to sharpen gouges. Now my paint is drying off nicely. There. So what we're going to do now, before we start messing around, is take this off the chuck. I want my little thing here. I'm going to take the chuck off the lathe with the piece in it. I use a C-spanner in the side hole of the jaw just to give it a tap. And I'm going to use one of these, a Simon Oak carving jig. I'll bring that down into there, bring it into shot. I can lock this off a bit. Want it lean over a bit away from me. My banjo hand's in the way. Let's just pinch that up. Let that back there somewhere, and then I can lock this off. It's quite handy if you're doing any piercing work, carving work.
Which bolt are you? There we go. We are now live again. Test 1.
Have we lost everybody?
No, we've still got 29 people who can all hear me telling you that.
Right. Hello. Are we back?
Right, do we have our cameras back as well, so we're all good on that front. There we go.
Right, we should be back. After our upgrade of a better 4G router, we still seem to drop out. We've had, well, I'm waiting for Ode to OpenReach to come and do a survey so we can get a proper fibre line pulled into the property. Don't know how long that's going to take. It normally survey takes a month. We've been about 3 weeks, but they did warn it could be longer because of the current condition that we're in. So, I don't know how much you saw earlier, but let me just recap quickly. I'll try and edit this bit out later. What I've done is put in a Simon Oak carving jig, removed the whole chuck, complete with a piece from the lathe, and now I can put the chuck onto this. This is quite useful. It's adjustable, so if I undo that, I can rock this backwards, round and round this way, so I can get round the piece. Oh, let me just tighten that up. I don't want it too tight because we've got to move it around. But there, or I can let the side one off, and then I can rotate it up and down. So it's quite useful. If I want to work on a piece, I can leave it in the chuck. I can pierce with it, do whatever I want. It's just there. Whatever I want, and then just put the piece back on the lathe. So, what we're going to do...
we might be buffering when you start talking about grits and belts.
Right, there was a question about grits and belts, if you heard that. So basically with the Pro Edge, a 60 grit belt, be it aluminium oxide, zirconium or ceramic, reprofiles your tool. A 120 grit belt sharpens your tool. And then they do a 240 aluminium oxide. That 240 aluminium oxide really is for, it gives a really fine edge, and I sometimes wonder if it's not too fine an edge for a wood turning tool. Might be alright on the skew. So I sharpened the 120 and I used the 240 to do me hand chisels.
Kitchen knives.
No, try that for kitchen knives. But I put a diamond belt on mine a few years ago. They're an investment, but they sharpen the tool well, they take less steel, and realistically what I recommend to most hobby turners, if you go down the Pro Edge route, is once you've used the belts that come with the machine, go over to ceramic. Ceramic cut cooler, so you get less less steel taken from your tool. They cut cooler, so you don't cause so much heat, and they last about 5 times longer than the others. So ceramic, and they're not a lot different in price, so that's the way I go. So I'm just shaking up. We're using the chestnut. Camera somewhere there. Iridescent paints. Oh, try that one. Forgot I got that one working as well. Chestnut iridescent paints. Just give them a shake up. So now what we're going to do is tip a bit out into my little paint tray. Like so. And then I've got a little lolly stick. I'll put some paint on the tip and just flick it. Now, this, believe it or not, is an art form by
A 3-year-old.
James Pollock. Only trouble is with flicking it, You guessed it. I'm getting Joe and the camera, the screen.
James Pollock.
Is it James Pollock?
Do you mean Jackson Pollock?
Oh, Jackson Pollock. That's it. I talk a load of old Pollocks at times. So I keep moving the wrong thing, but I can just rotate this around. I'm going with my yellow at the moment. If I put that in the right place, it'd be easier. There. Now we can go around with the next colour. There's a simple little flick at the tip. These are all techniques I picked up when I was 3. So I've got a good memory, I've never forgotten them. That's got Joe. Now we just randomly flick this on. Now we're going to go in with some green. Joe's moving around the workshop, so I keep angling the way that I'm flicking the paint just to piss him off a little bit.
He's not even joking.
Looks like I'm going to be cleaning the computer screen off for a while.
How did you hit me from here? You're turning me green, I'll turn into the Hulk.
There, we're going to go with a bit of red. That got more of me lathe than the bit of wood. That with a bit of yellow. Told you a bit of splash of paint. I've got his phone now. So now I'm just going to concentrate on the bottom part of this a little bit, right near the chuck. Somewhere there, I think. We want a bit more red in there. Yeah, a bit of red in there. Bit of green. That'll do us, I think. So you got the idea. I think you'll be able to mess around with that yourselves. So now we can remove this from the chuck. Oh, just lock this off. Now,
Someone asked if you've grown up since primary school. I said no, you just got told.
yeah, I can wear long trousers now. So that's me jig out the way, and that's me decoration to the outside. What I'm going to do is rotate the headstock round a little bit here so I can get into the bowl. Joe can adjust the camera. Find me tool rest. Get to the centre height. About there. Lock that down. Now, we'll start with the standard grind bowl gouge. Oh, if I can sort them out. Standard grind. That will come through on centre. I'll let Joe stand out of the way because you know what's going to happen. Right. What's going to happen here is we might get a bit of splattering. So I'm just rub the back of the bevel, lean my hand forward, score a little line, twist my wrist anti-clockwise and just go in. Hand forward, score a little line, twist my wrist and just go in. Put my safety glasses back on. In, score a line, twist. And go back in. And I just keep on like this. Just gentle, no real pressure. Little bit, just a little bit to push in. And the trick is just to keep that flow of shavings nice and regular and we get a nice smooth inside. Now, one of the problems that we get is when we start turning, we push mould too hard on the bevel. When we push too hard, we start to get bruising and swell lines and it can bump on you as well. So if you get that, you then have to just pick the back of the bevel up but then gently float the gouge around, hardly rubbing the bevel at all to knock out those lines. Let me just quickly get a bit of this body away. I'm just checking that. So then with a fingernail grind, same thing. What happens is I've got a little bit less bevel to support on around the tip, but it works in exactly the same way. talking about the undercut. How do we get into an undercut? So, way we do it is I rub the back of my bevel with my flute, bottom of my flute pointing out to 3 o'clock. I lean my handle forward and score my line, and as I score my line I roll my wrist anti-clockwise, but then as I get towards the lathe bed a bit quicker I push in to the bowl. So I come here, rub me, hold on, I've got a ridge, let me get rid of that. So I rub me bevel, push in, keep going forward towards the lathe, and now I push in, back out, and then scoop round. I do the same again, I rub my bevel, let me just get rid of my towel stock, that's in the way. We've got a camera set up there, towel stock in the way, let's get rid of the towel stock. Oh. There, ouch. Tangled up. Right, okay. Now I can get round, I couldn't get round before. So, I rub the back of my bevel, get my little cut on, keep coming forward towards the lathe. Now I'm over the lathe bed now. And now I start coming back. And now I can rub the side bevel. Oh, that was a, didn't want to do that. That was no bevel support. Rub my side bevel. Then push in. And then start turning. Now what happens once I've got my undercut started to establish, I can rub my back and my bevel here and push in. But we can start generating a problem because as we come round, the wing of the tool starts digging into this core, and if I was with a standard grind it would dig in sooner. So let me show you. So I come here, underneath, push in. Now as I come round here I've now got my whole wing against this core. So what I have to do is do it in 2 stages. There. Or this is one of the areas where I can use my 60 degree. So my 60 degree can rub the bevel on the inside of the undercut, then come round, because I've got a longer cutting edge, I can then establish the curve at the bottom, and I can come back up and generate a core in the middle that I can chop down on. So I'm just going in with my long grind now. Now with using a long grind, what I can do is as I come in and pick my cut up, I can come round, I let the shadings die down, I can come round, but then I can start, as I twist my body away from the lathe, I can also roll my wrist clockwise to get the wing over. So as the wind catches this, it just cuts it away. I don't push too hard. Now I've got a core which I can now just chop down on. And all I do is I've got the tool in my side, goes messing around with cameras.
No, I'm trying to get your chat up because I can't see my phone.
We'll put the camera, hold on a second, we've got a technical issue. What are you trying to do?
Trying to get your chat up because I put the phone.
Right. So now I can chop down, I can just pick up the tip of the tool on the core. As I push in, the back of the bevel then rubs on the back of the core. And I can take the core out like so. And all I'm doing is rocking myself towards the lathe.
Well, you've got a nice bit of shavings built up in there.
You can see we've got an undercut because the shavings are getting caught in the rim. And now I go back in. Twist myself away from the lathe, roll my wrist, pick up my core. Now the deeper I go, the undercut's going to become a problem, so my 60 degrees, as I come to here, you see, the back of my flute is now on the rim of the bowl, so it stops me getting that curve in. So with my 60 degree, I can come in and I've got plenty of distance between that. But 60 degrees is no good for chopping down. It's really a long grind trick, in my opinion. But even my long grind, when I get back here, is banging against the side. So I have to do this in two cuts. I come over, bit of a push in, twist away from the lathe. I get to about there, can't go any further, swap over, back of the bevel rub, then slowly pick the cut up. To come into the bottom. Now you can see how easy it is to pick the cut up with that shallower grind. It's not cutting anything down the side. I can see the cut line. And I can get down to the bottom. As I come into the middle, Douglas, is there a point where the undercut rubs against the chisel? Yes, that's what I was just saying. So, let's explain it without a camera moving. When I've got my normal tool, I'm picking up the cut here and pushing in. So I go in, and once I pick the wood up that I'm going to take away, I then pivot myself away from the lathe, and when I get to about here, I'm going to lose the cut. So I build up an amount of wood just on the sort of, I suppose, on the lowest point of the turn coming inwards, somewhere around here where my finger is. So then my tool would then be against the rim of the undercut, so I can't get round to finish the curve. I can only literally come across the bottom straight. But with a 60 degree gouge, oh, that's 45, there's 60, my 60 degree gouge, it doesn't really cut here because of the angle of the bevel, but as I get to there, it will then pick up the cut, and I can carry on into the centre, leaving myself a good finger's worth of space from the rim. So this is one of the times where you want a second grind on your gouge. So this is where we use, why you would have a couple of gouges. So if I come in here, you see, I can't get a cut. I've got to be virtually here to get a cut. Joe moves that camera. I've got to be virtually here with a 60 degree to get a cut. But here, I rub the bevel, rub the bevel, rub the bevel, rub the bevel, and as I get into that point in the bowl, I pick up a cut. And then I can follow that cut through to the centre, like so. So, we're just going to go in again here, pick this cut up. Now we gouge against the side wall. I'll just do one more underneath there. Gouges against the side wall, 60 degree, rub the bevel. And then I can move this into the centre. Like so. Now I can keep going little at a time. That gives me my undercut. I know it's an undercut because my shavings are caught up in there. Now what I'm just going to do is tidy this face off just a tad here. There. Joe's moving cameras. Hold on.
Not catching that fire.
Oh, get that out of the way. Hold on. There you go. Crap all over the place. Right. So now I've got my bowl, and I can keep going. Actually, I will keep going a little bit. That's a bit thick on the bottom. So let me get in there and just remove. I've got no danger of being a member of the funnel club with the thickness. At the bottom there, but you heard that screeching. Right, as to sharpening, yeah, all you do, the same as the 45, there's a setup on the the Pro Edge at 60 degrees. So if we come round to that camera,
That's the fifth one down. Second one.
right, if we come round to that camera, I then adjust the table here. 60 is the fifth hole down, there's 60, lock it off at 60, 60 there, relax to the side, in at 60, same idea, thumb at 10 o'clock, roll your wrist clockwise, come back, move your thumb to 2 o'clock, roll your wrist anti-clockwise, And that's her done, but you can see there's a much flatter grind. Hopefully you can see that. We haven't got a screen. I'll come back to here and show you just in case you couldn't. We was pushing the wrong buttons. Right, so you can see it's a much flatter grind to the 45. Yeah, can you pick that up on the camera? This one's the 60, that one's the 45. Longer bevel, flatter bevel. So we just come back in here. I'll get rid of them shavings. That's better. And now I can just pick this up. So I've just tidied that clip out at the bottom. Now we've got a nice rolling curve in the bottom, and the curve rolls round all the way. So this will get a quick sand. Now the undercut, when I'm sanding the undercut with the extractor on for a second, I might not be able to get in here with this 2-inch head. So I'll just do that rim. I've got to be careful not to come back too far because I don't want to destroy the paintwork. So if I come in here on the heel of the sander, then I can rotate the head round a bit and maybe go on the other face to get in on the bottom, or I can swap over he says. I can swap over to the little 37mm head, and that will get me in there round the curve at the base. I can do all the inside with it really. I'm not going to go too mad here, we just sand this down. That was 120. Bit of 180. Bit of 240. The pad slipped. That's better. Slipping again. The Velcro's worn out. I'm just going to go with a bit of 320 now. I'll use the bigger one. Do you
still use 2-inch discs on that smaller head?
No, they're 37mm, 36, 37mm, 2-inch on this, and then the 3-inch on the other tack cloth.
Yeah.
There's 3 sizes of head. I'm not making that clear, Joe. Right, 3 sizes of head: 36mm, 50mm, and 72mm. So then you have 3 sizes of paper, each relating to the size of head. So you just change the paper, or the disc rather, over. So now we've got...
So you've got 1.5 inch, 2 inch and 3 inch.
Yeah, if you put it in imperial, 1.5 2 and 3, or 37mm, 36mm, 47mm and 72mm. I'm just going to grab a quick finish. Straight to off. So I've gone to 320. Bit of Yorkshire grit, because this is instant finish, not like the olive root that's taking oil after coat of oil or after coat of oil, but I do intend to have that, well, it's finished when it stops taking oil, really. I just leave it, give it a few coats and leave it in between coats.
What lathe speed?
Lathe speed when I'm sanding. Right, on the Pro Sander I tend to sand around about 1200 or something like that. Hold on, tell you what we was at. We was at 1300. So ish.
Slow down for higher grips.
No, not with the Pro Sander. I just carry on. If I was hand sanding with just ordinary sandpaper, I would then slow the lathe right down because of the heat problem, and I wouldn't sand much above 700. But the Pro Sanders, that's why they are, well, not Pro, inertia reel sanders, work well with a bit of speed, and they can really be quite quick on the sanding. That's a bit of Yorkshire grit applied. Now, Martin pointed out to me a while ago I'm using an old tin of Hampshire Sheen. This is an original tin.
No one can see it.
This is an original tin of Hampshire Sheen. One of the first. And I'm probably 2/3 down it, so I'll still be using it in another year, 18 months time. So thin bit of wax, not too much. Better off with thin coats, 2 or 3 of them, buffing in between rather than putting it all on at once. So that, clean bit of towel, spin her up. Work the wax in. I'm supporting my right wrist with my left hand. Now if you do an undercut, what you've got to be careful of is your fingers coming out, that you don't catch this rim. That could be a bit sharp. I'll just give this one more. Wax lid's gone on the floor. There. Will be.
When you use the tack cloth to get the dust off the piece, how do you get the dust off the tack cloth ready for the next use?
I don't, it just absorbs the dust, and when it gets a bit too dusty, when it stops tacking, I just replace it with another one. They don't last forever, but they last quite a long while. You know, we're only pulling the surface dust off. There we go. Stuff that in there. Now, because the paint's probably still a little bit wet, and because we've got an undercut and a curved top, I wouldn't use my Longworth style chuck to grip and mark the outside. So what I'm going to do here is use a friction plate and get the bottom off best we can with a friction plate, and then just sand off the other bit. So turn my lathe speed right down. Oh, you've got a friction plate on here. Oop, now what I'm going to do is centralise the chuck, the headstock, because I've rotated it out. So let me just put that out of the way for a minute. Bring this up. We're going to have to jiggle the camera because I've got to get the tailstock back on the lathe. This is where you need a gantry. So that'll be, once we've got decent broadband, a gantry will be in use so we can go over it there. So I'm just going to bring that up, lock this off, and I can see in there that we're about central. It's a bit higgledy-piggledy. I should take the chuck off the lathe, but it'll be close enough. If I was spindle turning, then I'd have to take the chuck off the lathe to make sure we're lined up. So my friction plate comes up to here, but just a bit of wood with non-slip mat. The speed is down. And now I'm just going to use, saying the paint might be wet, I've got my hands all over it. With a donut. Right, so I'm just going to wind this in now, make sure she's fairly central. Just turn it on real slow. Yeah, we look close enough, so just tighten that down. I'm just going to turn away this dovetail and then we sand off the last bit. I'm just using a 1/4 inch long grind. Turn the speed up, I'm about 600. Cuts. All I'm doing is picking up the back of the bevel on the wood, lifting the handle up. Now I'm just going to chop down on that centre a bit. And now I'm just going to carefully pick up that foot there. Tidy off the paint, work this into the middle, there, chop down, I'm just using the back of the bevel against the live centre to get the support, and I just rock my body into the lathe. Now, no sudden movements, I don't want to snap this peg, but I want to take off as much as I can. Before that happens, and it happened. One cut too many. Get that off of there. Well, it's alright, it's not badly damaged, so I was just trying to do one cut too many, and the peg was too thin. I should have stopped sooner, but hey-ho. Mike, well, I've dismantled something off the lathe. You can tell Mike, I laughed at his goblet the other day. So with a quick sand, Bit of 80 grit. Lucky I left all the shavings on the floor. So now all I'm going to do is sand that peg off. There we go. So that's the peg sanded off. And then we've got our little, let's bring this back. Joe sets the camera up. Little coloured bowl. If I can get that into a light so you can see it. Yeah, there. So little coloured bowl, Pollock inspired. Nice bit of ash, polished ash on the inside. Bit of dust on the outside where it bounced, but we hit shavings, so it's alright. I don't know if we can see. Can't really get a light. You've got a light. Shine a light on that, Joe. Phone. There. That might. I'll take some pictures and post it later. But there you've got a little olive ash bowl, Pollock inspired, little undercut rim. My computer screen's covered in paint. I've unmarked myself. I've got Joe this week, so he's covered in paint. We had obviously the dreaded broadband gremlins again, so any of you that stayed with us, I thank you. I will get it sorted out. It's just going to take a while. I hope I've shown you different bowl gouges, techniques, how to sharpen them and that sort of stuff. Now, question. So, Leslie, would I spray a clear gloss lacquer finish? Yeah, I could spray a lacquer finish over that. I could give it an acrylic lacquer. That's what I would do, acrylic gloss. But I probably wouldn't. To be quite honest, with that paint dries, I quite like it natural, so I would leave it like that. Duncan wants to gossip. Morning, Dunk. Didn't see you earlier. Thank you. We've got a few more watching now. We did drop right off. Fully understandable. When the old broadband collapses on you, then it's not very good. Not many likes. You didn't like it. The idea is, if you like it, just click the little button below the video and just like the stream. Subscribe to the channel. That will be good. All helps. Glad you enjoyed it, Alistair. Yeah, Michael, my new quick release. No, I took a lesson off of Mike Walt. He showed me how to snap a goblet. I thought I'd dismantle a bowl. One cut too many. Just that last cut, you know. Normal stuff. Thanks, Douglas. I hope you liked it. Glad you enjoyed it. People like to see wood and not so keen. Nick Harden, only 32 likes. And there's loads of you watching. 29, according to my screen. Someone said 500 just now. I can't see it.
494.
494, 500.
We were at 500 and something.
500 and something. That's amazing. Thank you very much. Well, anybody still here, please just click the like button. If you liked it. If you didn't like it, then don't. You know, that's simple. Ian, your downstairs toilet needs, but I don't know if your wife's going to take too kindly to you using the Pollock technique in the toilet. If you are, my suggestion would be to cling film up the basin and the toilet pan and the cistern. Then flick away.
Don't forget to uncling film the toilet afterwards, because otherwise that's a bad prank.
Alright, Joe's just reminding me of a prank. Cling film the toilet and put the lid down and let someone use it. Steve, you like the birds? Good. Glad you enjoyed it. Thank you, Ice Peckers Hens. Ice Pecked Hens. Yeah. Colin, thank you.
Garden of England
Thanks.
members.
Thanks, Fred. All the Garden of England members, Orchard members, other club members. Alan, what was the base coat, Ed? It was just an acrylic cobalt blue. Where's the camera gone? What one are we using? Top one. Cobalt blue, Dala and Rowney. Just artist paint that you just pick up from Hobbycraft or somewhere like that.
Just an artist paint. That's a really good artist paint.
Well, it's a good artist paint, yeah, I'm told. Only use the best. Clive, glad you enjoyed it. Cheers, Mick. I'm glad you were entertained. I'm only here to serve. Thanks, Graham. Thanks, Georgina. Thanks, David. And that was good. Glad you enjoyed it, Andy. Thanks, Andy Best. Thanks, Leslie. Worth every minute. Well, even the blank out when our dreaded router problem struck again. The Open Reach cannot come here too soon, I tell you. I have had it with broadband. This is going to get fixed once and for all, even if I pull the cable in myself. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Alan. Right, people, I'm going to away. If you have any questions or anything and they're unanswered, just drop me an email or a text or a Facebook message. I'll always answer. Thanks, Martin. Have a good weekend.